In this video, we're going to be working on a reload system. Now, in order to actually be able to, well, reload, we need to have some sort of ammo system. So we know when the firearm has run dry or whenever the player actually just flat out wants to reload. So we're going to start with setting up the ammo, and we will move on to actually doing the, what do you call it? The reload animation and playing and that kind of thing. So first thing we're going to do is we want to include Unreal Network. So include net Unreal Network.h. I'm going to go down here under begin play. I'm going to go ahead and go copy and paste it. We want get lifetime replicated props, and this is for our replication. So then we do rep lifetime, then the class, so a weapon base, and then the variable that we want to replicate. Now we actually want to replicate this only to the owner, but we'll set that up here in a second. So the variables that we want to replicate are current total ammo and current magazine ammo. So we're going to replicate current total ammo. I'm going to copy and paste this again, and current magazine ammo. Now in our weapon base.h, we need to set these up so they know they're replicated. So u property replicated, and u property replicated, like so. So I think for now we're just going to replicate these to ourselves, and in the future we may end up using an onRep event. So the current magazine ammo, every time that value changes, the onRep event will fire playing a shooting animation, or we may just multicast it. We may end up just going the route of multicasting, since one, it's not really a concern, as you know, not everybody needs to hear the shot go off or see the animation play all the time. So if the multicast fails, it's not a big deal. So we may end up just doing that. So we're going to set this as do rep lifetime underscore condition. Then after current ammo, we're going to do COND condition underscore owner only. Then do the same thing for current magazine ammo. I want to go ahead and compile, just make sure everything's okay. And we will want to start by altering this on the server as well as the client. So the reason we're replicating is just to prevent cheating, but we want it to also be altered on the client so that way the change in the interface when we shoot is instant. So let's go to our fire function. What we're going to do here, again in our weapon base, we're going to decrement our current magazine ammo. So subtract from current magazine ammo. And then we go to weapon semi.cpp, our fire animation, our fire function, and we're going to call super on it. So super fire, and we pass in shooting player. Over to catch up. There we go. So back to our CPP. Let's actually print out a log. Ammo. Current magazine ammo. And then we're going to compile. So hopefully whenever we shoot, we should see the ammo in the magazine getting decremented. And if that's the case, we will go from there. Okay. Go ahead and see. Go to the log. Ammo 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, and it goes negative. So that is working. It is calling our fire function inside of weapon base. And pretty much from here, let's see. we're going to do a check. So in that fire function, well, we're going to do if current magazine ammo is greater than or equal to 0, or is greater than 0. Okay, where's my closing? Okay, that was kind of weird. If it's greater than or equal to 0, we can shoot. And otherwise, just nothing's going to happen. So we're going to do the same thing on the server. So let's see, if we are the server, we perform everything like normal. If we are not, we perform it, then we call server fire, pass in the hit result, and here we want to do the check. So same thing, if current magazine ammo is greater than 0, we will perform the firing. I do want to clean this up as well, this fire function, because we could kind of merge these two. And if this ends up working, that's what I'm going to end up doing, just to clean it up and make it easier. Okay, so we are still firing. Let's see. So it's playing the animation montage, it's not actually firing. So we're gonna have to make some alterations to our character. And in this fire function, instead what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make it return a Boolean. So in weapon-base.h, go down to fire, it can be virtual bool fire. And I'm just gonna set it to return true. Then we have to change it in weapon semi, the header, and CPP. And the CPP like so. So now, if current ammo is greater than 0, yada yada yada, we run all this. What we're going to do is return true, and otherwise we return false. Now in our Nazi zombie character, go to our fire function. So on fire, so if current weapon, and if fire, really wish they would tab it over for me. If fire, meaning the fire was valid, we're going to perform the animation. Okay, so now we should only have the animation fire if the ammo in the magazine is greater than 0. Right, so now you can see I am no longer playing the firing animation, but it is decrementing, so that is fine. That's ultimately not a big deal because it's only going to really be replicated, like assuming we're on the client, when server fire ends up firing and altering the ammo itself. So we actually need a way to set this up so it decrements from the server. But first, let's go ahead and clean this up a bit. So let's see. What I'm going to do, I want to remove the server check. And let's start from this. So what we want to do is we want to run. Whoa. we want to run this here regardless. So we store it in the hit results. And then what we end up doing is we'll do a check. So if get world is server, or is not the server, we call server fire and pass in hit results. So we clean that up a good bit. I'm going to go ahead and compile and make sure it works. So the only thing we did there is we performed the line trace and all that kind of stuff because we're doing it on the client anyhow. And then we do a check. If we are not the server, then we go ahead and do the same thing on the server. And if we are the server, well, it flat doesn't matter. This just isn't going to run. So we're pretty much good to go. So assuming this should work, we then need to on server fire decrement the variable for our ammo. So, all right, so everything worked as intended. Let me make sure I can actually damage zombies, which we can. So that is good. So now let's go to weaponbase.cpp, subtract current magazine ammo, and let's actually do a check. So if current magazine ammo is greater than 0, we can decrement it. So otherwise it'll just stay 0. And then what we want to do is inside of here, we want to call the, well, we don't need to make a dedicated call for that. So instead what we're going to do, so we can do there, go to weapons semi, in server fire, we are going to decrement our current magazine ammo. So current magazine ammo is getting decremented on the server. So now let's just simply compile one last time. And then we'll do a quick explanation because I know I was bouncing around quite a bit. I'm a little flustered at the moment. Sorry about that. Okay, make sure everything works. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So hang on. Let's see, we start with 7, I think. Magazine, yeah, 7. So let's count the shots. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're only getting 6 shots. So what we're gonna do is if, let's see, weapon semi, if magazine ammo is greater than or equal to, I'm gonna do greater than or equal to 0 instead. So that'll allow us to get that 7th shot. I forgot because we're calling super first. Actually, better yet, I'm gonna cancel that build and undo. What we're gonna do is call super after we do the ammo check. So if it's greater than 0, we're going to call super, which will simply decrement the ammo. If we head over here to weapon base, we can actually do the same thing in server fire. So I'm just going to copy and paste this. I will change this to client ammo and server ammo. So now weapon semi, and head back up to our server fire implementation. And I'm going to call super server fire implementation and pass in it results and remove the decrementation or the decrementing of the current magazine ammo. So I will, well, this should be good to go now. It'll only decrement the ammo after we've fired, so we should get all 7 shots. So else we should have everything getting controlled on the server too. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and I cannot fire an 8th time. and it's not shooting anything else. So as you can see at the bottom left here, it's saying client ammo. That's because we're the server. Let's go ahead, and I did not mean to hit launch. What am I launching as? Because this locked everything up just now. I think I'm just gonna force it closed and relaunch. I'm not entirely sure what launch does. I'm guessing that's like launching outside the editor, maybe. So now let's test with two clients. And I'm going to shoot as the client instead. And I do not have a second spawn point for this client. So I'm going to duplicate it. So here's the server. Here's the client. So I'm going to fire. So as you can see, I shot client ammo, server ammo. So it's changing out on the client first. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. And I can no longer shoot. And it's the same dealio with the server still. Except the server's just saying client ammo because obviously the server has the authority, so it doesn't need to run the server RPC. Oh, here I am. So we now have our basic for our magazine set up. In the next video, we're going to do reloading, but I'm going to go ahead and do a quick, I'm going to reiterate what we've done. So in the weapon base, we have our normal fire function that used to be empty. What we did is we set that up to return a Boolean by default. So what we're doing is we're simply checking if the current magazine ammo, so the ammo in our magazine is greater than 0. If it is, we'll decrement it, so that way it never goes below 0. Then in weapon semi, whenever we fire, we're going to simply do a check, make sure we do have ammo in the magazine. If we do, we call super. Now what super does is, let's say we have, because this function's overridden, what super is going to do is it's going to call the weapon's base's fire function. So this line right here is going to make this code run. So it's going to decrement our current ammo, and then we're going to perform our normal, our fire animation, perform the hit, get the hit results from the client, and then check it for the server. If we're the server, we just ignore it and we return true because we could fire. If we're not the server, meaning we're the client, we're going to make a call to the server and pass in our hit results. So this is going to be our pretty much our control. So the server decrements the ammo and does the hit checking to make sure we're not cheating and stuff like that. So assuming we're not the server and we're the client, we're going to call this server function. Same thing, check if magazine's greater than 0. And we're going to call super on the weapon base version, or for the weapon base's implementation of this function, which is simply going to do the exact same thing and decrement the ammo, assuming it's greater than 0. And then it's going to perform the fire animation on the server. And same thing with the, it's going to go through the hit results and actually do like the damage to them on the server. So once that's done, again, it just returns true. So if we don't have ammo, we return false. If we do have ammo, we return true. So that way when we call on fire and we try to fire, if we did fire, meaning it returned true, this will be true. And we'll perform the rest of the info relating to animations and stuff like that, such as our montage. I'm actually kind of curious, did we set up, it should play the shooting animation for the gun, I think. Trying to get to a point where I could see the action. Yeah, you can see the bolt moving. But you cannot on the server, so that's going to be something that we're going to have to fix later. But we now have a magazine kind of system going. In the next video, we will continue and set up the ability to reload, which will pull from our current total ammo and add it to our magazine to fill it. So now that that's over, I will see you in the next one.